Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us because today we aren't just talking about dry grammar rules, we're actually talking about time travel. Or, well, more accurately, we're going to look at grammar acting as a literal bridge through time. The present perfect tense is truly one of the most vital dynamic tools in the English language, and I promise you, by the end of our time together today, you're going to master exactly how to use it.
So here's our quick roadmap for the explainer. First, we'll look at bridging past and present. Second, the present perfect formula. Third, avoiding common mistakes. Fourth, idioms for everyday use. And finally, mastering new vocabulary. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, Bridging Past and Present. To really get a firm grasp on the present perfect tense, I want you to picture an actual bridge in your mind. On one side of this bridge, you have the past. On the other side, you're standing in the present moment. The present perfect is the exact structure that links these two sides together. It's used to describe actions that happened in the past, but, and this is absolutely crucial, they are deeply connected to the present. This tense is incredibly important in spoken English simply because we are constantly talking about things we've just completed or achievements that make us who we are right now.
So, when exactly do we step onto this grammatical bridge? Well, there are basically four main scenarios. First, for recently completed actions, like saying, I have finished my work just a short time ago. Second, for life experiences. For example, if you say, I have visited Karachi, you're talking about something you've experienced in your life right up to this current moment. Third, we use it for actions with present results, like if we say, he has broken his leg. The break happened in the past, sure, but the result is that he is actively injured right now. And finally, we use it for actions that happened at some unspecified or unknown time.
Moving right along to Section 2, the present perfect formula.
Now that we know when to use our bridge, let's look at the actual mathematical building blocks we need to construct it. The whole foundation of this tense relies on a very strict rule about helping verbs, and your choice depends entirely on the subject of your sentence. If your subject is I, you, we, or they, you literally must pair it with the helping verb have. On the flip side, if your subject is he, she, or it, you have to use has. Honestly, getting this right is step 1 to totally mastering the present perfect. Step 2 is all about the main verb, and this brilliantly illustrates the big shift required for this tense. See, we don't use the base form, and we actually don't use the simple past form either. The present perfect demands the third form of the verb, which you might know as the past participle. Notice how these base verbs evolve. Eat becomes ate, but for our bridge it must become eaten. Go shifts to went, but we need gone. Write evolves to wrote, and finally to written. This third form is basically non-negotiable for the present perfect. So putting all of that together, we get these precise 3-step formulas. For a positive sentence, it's the subject plus has or have, plus that third form verb, like she has visited Lahore. For a negative sentence, which just shows an action has not happened, you simply drop in the word not. Subject plus has not or have not, plus the third form. They have not watched the movie. And finally, to ask a question about a completed action, you just flip the beginning around. Has or have, plus the subject, plus the third form verb. Have you completed your homework?
Which brings us to Section 3, avoiding common mistakes.
Now, what's really interesting here is that even with clear blueprints, it's super easy to make a structural error. Let's look at a very common mismatch where people tend to stumble or trip on our metaphorical bridge. Think about the sentence, he have completed work. Why is that wrong? Well, because he is a singular subject, and as we just learned, it absolutely must take the helping verb has. The perfect, corrected way to say this is, he has completed work.
Here is another really quick fix-it example, this time involving the pronoun I. It's super tempting for beginners to pair I with has, which gives us I has eaten lunch. But remember our helping verb rule from earlier? The pronoun I always pairs with have. So the correct and natural way to say this is simply I have eaten lunch. Keep your subjects and helping verbs correctly matched, and your bridge is going to be rock solid.
Shifting gears a bit, let's jump to Section 4, idioms for everyday use.
Let's actually cross our grammar bridge right into everyday fluency by exploring some dynamic English idioms. Idioms are amazing because they instantly elevate how you speak and add incredible color to the language. Let's look at 3 highly practical, action-oriented ones. First, to miss the boat just means to miss out on an opportunity. Like, if you don't apply for a program soon, you might miss the boat. Second, to call it a day means to stop working or end an activity, usually because you've done enough or you're just tired. We've finished most of the work, so let's call it a day. And third, to hit the books means to begin studying in a really serious, focused way. If exams are next week, it's definitely time to hit the books.
Next up is a wonderful idiom, a blessing in disguise. This refers to a seemingly unfortunate or negative event that ultimately leads to a surprisingly beneficial outcome. This specific, slightly dramatic example from our source material perfectly illustrates what it means in practice. Losing that job was a blessing in disguise because it led him to a better opportunity. It's like something that looked like a total disaster was actually a great thing hiding behind a mask.
Our final idiom is, well, it's literally perfect for today's entire theme: burn bridges. This means to completely destroy relationships, connections, or ties. For instance, insulting a former employer right before leaving a company is a surefire way to burn a bridge. Keeping our main grammar metaphor in mind today, we want to build bridges connecting our ideas, definitely not burn them down.
And finally, we've arrived at Section 5, Mastering New Vocabulary.
To finish off this explainer strong, let's connect these first two vocabulary words directly back to our underlying theme of time. Chronological means arranging events, dates, or items in the exact order they occurred over time, from earliest to latest. On the other hand, a retrospective is an evaluation or review of past events or experiences. If a team looks back to see what went wrong on a big project, they're doing a retrospective analysis. It's basically standing in the present and looking directly backward at the past. Let's swiftly run through these final three pretty forceful vocabulary words. To aggravate means to worsen a situation, like a harsh comment making an argument much worse. To retract means to take something back, such as retracting a statement after you realize it was actually incorrect. And to terminate means to bring something to an end, like a company terminating a contract due to violations. So the crucial point here is that these three words deal with changing the status of a situation, making it worse, pulling it back, or ending it completely. As we bring things to a close today, I really want to leave you with a fun little challenge that ties everything we've learned together. I have to ask, have you reviewed this explainer chronologically, or is it time to call it a day? Notice what we did right there. We used the present perfect tense, have you reviewed. We used our brand new vocabulary word, chronologically, and we even threw in the idiom, call it a day. I challenge you to go out and build your own bridges with the present perfect this week. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.